conference, just a little general thought on what you're looking for this year and what the next step would be in the progression of the program.
Well, our goal is to come in at top third, top 25% of the league, because it puts you in a great position in our league to get an NCAA tournament. I was surprised we picked second. I put us a little lower than that, my thing, but it beats the alternative, I guess. So right now, like I told our players, we're not close to being the second best team in this conference, but we do have the potential, to get there. And we have 4 really experienced juniors, and I think John Caoch is set to have, an excellent senior season. And we definitely have to get some of the new guys and guys like Nick Griffin prepared to play a bigger role this year. So I'm excited about it, but those things don't really mean that much. St. Louis has won the league 2 years in a row. I don't think they were picked in the top 1 or even 2 either year.
Mike, along those lines, though, like the NCAA's last year, the first time in a while, the expectations nationally, even within the conference and locally, are a little higher than they were last year. Is it harder to deal with that than maybe being an underdog?
Yeah, I worry about it. We got guard against our players, kind of reading their press clippings. I mean, they say all the right things. I think they're focused. We had an inter-squad scrimmage the other day and with officials, and I told our team yesterday it was probably the worst defensive performance that any team I've ever been associated with. So, I mean, the good thing is, hey, we got some guys who can score, but I don't think the other teams we play are going to not really guard at all. So we got a lot of work to do defensively, and I truly believe defense and rebounding wins championships. I'm a big stat guy. I'm not up to date with all the newest stats, but I read somewhere recently, I don't know what our defensive percentage of other teams' possessions, how we stopped them, but we were rated pretty high defensively, and we got to make sure we have that. We have a team that's good defensively. We lost a great defender, defensive presence inside in Isaiah. I think our wings will be terrific defensively. Patricio, Keithan, Kevin's a terrific player, but he's got to be a presence inside, and we are going to lack a shot blocker, which we've had the last couple of years. So we got a lot of weaknesses. We got to do a good job hiding, and we have to develop, some depth, which obviously hurt us a lot last year. And I think we have some freshmen who can have an impact, but we really have to have them, work their way in rotation pretty quickly.
Joe?
The whole process of becoming from hunter to hunted is something you've done in other programs. What can you draw from that, and how is it different? You talk about the guys who are press clippings. I mean, do you coach differently? How do you handle things?
Well, I think our team, the juniors, I tell them that they really have to set an example and be leaders for the young guys. They can lead in different ways. Isaiah brought it every day in practice. He helped change the culture of our program. The year he sat out, didn't even play the games, just with the way he practiced, every day. And we have to get our juniors to play at a high level so the freshmen understand what it takes, because this is a big adjustment no matter what conference you came in, from high school. So we're going to take everyone's best shot this year. Hey, last year we were 17-3 at one point, so I don't think we really snuck up on anybody. I don't think anybody was saying, hey, they're picked 10th in the league by the time late January rolled around. But now, our fans, everyone, you lose a road game, and it's going to be like, hey, what happened? So this league is very strong. VCU had a lot coming back, so they were kind of easy for everyone, including myself, to pick them number 1. Then I think it was sort of a toss-up for maybe the next 5 or 6 teams. So I'm excited because I think we have potential to reach our goals this year. But we got to work hard, and, get lucky, stay healthy, and hopefully we don't need all 5 freshmen, but hopefully 2 of them can have a big impact right away.
Mike, you were able to accomplish so much last year basically without Keithan Savage, and now that he's back, obviously that has to be a huge boost. What does that mean to have him back? Who's going to be healthy for the full season?
I kind of forgot how good he really is, and he's a terrific player. And I think this year he'll be a better defender. He's really matured, and I think he understands. He's got some goals now with basketball. He's in the gym more on his own, and now we had Mo Creek, and we had Keithan, and we had Patricio. Patricio broke his finger. We always had 3 guys kind of those 2 positions, and now we don't really have that. So we have to get Keithan and Patricio to play at a high level and stay healthy. But I really think that they're both going to have terrific seasons. And Keithan, when he was hurt, we lost that penetration, so that hurt Mo Creek. It's just affected us more than even I thought it would.
After losing Mo Creek and Isaiah Arnwood, and them coming from their prospective colleges, Who do you feel will be that emotional leader, or just that guy in the locker room that keeps everyone motivated and humble?
Well, I'm hoping it's kind of by committee. John's a great leader. One of the only guys that's going to be a 3-year captain for me. Joe leads by example. He's got the utmost respect of his teammates. But I'm trying to get one of those juniors to be more of a vocal leader. Patricio, he's good with the young guys, but they have to take ownership in the team. I told him, hey, you're going to be judged this season. I mean, we lost our two leading scorers. I mean, Mo Creek was our leading scorer, and Keith and Isaiah maybe both averaged 12.7. So we definitely lost. We lost a lot. So it's kind of going to be by committee. No one's going to replace Isaiah's 12 and 9. You got to do it as a team.
Mike, you had a bunch of young players, but Kevin, last year maybe more than anybody on the team. What can you do to jump another level this year?
Well, he's so versatile. I mean, we ran offense through him a lot last year. I give him credit. I told him he had to really increase his rebounding freshman and sophomore year. He did it, and now he's going to have to do it a little bit more. If he can go up maybe 1.5 more rebounds a game, that'll help make up for the loss of Isaiah. But Kevin's really worked on his body, his conditioning, and he's the most improved player in the league. I told him this year it's time to be an all-conference player. So he's good now. He's got the experience, and I just worry about him. He's got to play a lot of minutes for us. He's got to guard against foul trouble, and he's got to stay in shape throughout the season as well.
Can you talk a little bit more about some of the freshmen coming in? It seemed that the Buff and Blue scrimmage on Saturday, especially Anthony Swan and Darian Bryant, at least at first glance, looked like guys that could step in right away and kind of provide some solid minutes off the bench, at least with the early going. Do you have that same assessment, or are you looking at some other guys?
Yeah, I mean, it was great. Some of those guys played really well, but like I said, there wasn't a lot of defense there, and I don't think anybody should judge us on that scrimmage. I think it was good for some guys' confidence that had really been struggling at this level. But if we had a game tonight, I would say probably Darian and Yuta Watanabe would be the first the freshman off the bench.
Mike, I'm trying to think of this example of a team that had a solid core of 4 juniors and then an entire team of 5 freshmen. You're able to build and rebuild at the same time, so to speak. How do you balance the two? I mean, what you want to develop with a freshman versus obviously you've got a strong core that's still got 2 years to play.
Well, we got to get them some experience, and it's really going to start this weekend. We have a close scrimmage, and then we play Bloomsburg. Every exhibition game I've ever had, wherever I was, I played all the guys in the first half. At Vermont, I mean, usually we take care of St. Mike's, McGill, but sometimes it's really close. And I never really cared about winning. I don't say I didn't care about winning, but I play everybody in each half because that's it. That's where I got to see if they can play with the lights on and the refs and the fans. So we're going to have to kind of test them early, and hopefully our schedule is very difficult, but hopefully there'll be a game where we're winning comfortably, and I can play some of those guys extended minutes to see if they're capable of playing, in Atlantic 10 games. So it's going to be hard because this class, I'm excited about this class, but this is not the class we had 2 years ago. A lot of people are trying to compare that. Right now, it's not even close. The good news is these guys, most of them are going to have some time to develop. Like I said, we need 2 of them to have an impact. Where 2 years ago, Patricio, Joe, and Kevin, and even Keith, and they got to be thrown right in the fire, and I think that experience really helped, and they were very, very talented.
Mike, last year you played there on Miami, Marquette early. Looking back, were those games really helpful in terms of how you developed and looking at the schedule early here? Road games at Rutgers, UVA, and Seton Hall, is that kind of the same idea to play tough games away early?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when I got here, people really want to play some name schools. I like to call them top 6 conferences, which we're one of them. The BCS schools, and you got the Big East and those things, and the A10. We want to play a tough schedule, and our players, it helps recruiting. They want to play that. And I say, hey, no matter who's recruiting you, I don't think anyone will play, a tougher non-conference schedule or a trip to Hawaii. And last year, we were fortunate. The year before, we lost to Kansas State. We lost some really close games to some pretty good opponents. And then last year, I thought the Miami game was huge because they came back, and then we won in overtime. And Maryland, same thing. We're up and came back. And then that helped us for when it was time to play Georgia here, who ended up being the 3rd best team in the SEC. So this year we have a lot of those games. People like to say they're winnable, but they're also losable. And a lot of them are on the road. So I think confidence last year I was worried about more. But this year, we're not going to jump out 17-3, So I think our guys just have to stay focused. When we take a loss, we got to understand it's all about the big picture. And I'm able to use Dayton as an example with our team. play a pretty tough non-conference schedule. We start off 1-5 in our conference. And we kind of limp out there and they beat us. They went all the way to the Elite Eight. So they always talk about process, but it really is a process. And we got to get better and we got to figure out the best rotations. So my hope is that we're a lot better, when January rolls around than we are right now.
What would you like to see production-wise from John Kariba, and what do you think it'll be like for him, having established a role as a leader on the team, but being asked to, contribute in a new way this year?
Well, John, I told him, I said, he does a lot of things that don't show up in the stat sheet. He's one of our best post defenders. He runs offense, screens better than anyone. He's got leadership and intangibles. But I told him, I don't know if it's 4-5 or 5-4, but he's not going to. I shouldn't say he's not going to get Isaiah's numbers, but we don't really need him to do that. I don't know if he's capable of doing that, but he can't be 1 and 2. He's going to get more minutes, and he's going to definitely play a bigger role. And I think he's ready for that. I think he's excited about it, and it's his time. And we need him to have a breakout season. So I'm really happy for John. He was supposed to go to Vermont. He decided to take a chance to go to a high level. He's going to be a doctor someday. It's a great place for him. And now he's going to have a chance to really help us win a lot of games. So I hope he does well.
Mike, coaches will scour the globe looking for talents. You clearly did that with Yuta. How did you find him? How did you get him here? And how has his transition been to college, to U.S. culture and all that?
Well, one of my friends, I'm getting old now, so I know a lot of people out there, and a buddy of mine tipped me off about him being at St. Thomas More. And most of those kids are international kids. They all came over to American high school. The only time I left the country, I went to Lithuania to see Martin Gavin's parents, and he ended up going to Notre Dame. So for the most part, we've stayed in this country and gone to Montbird Academy and Montrose and St. Thomas More, and really just sold them on what we were trying to build here, and the international flavor of the city and our campus. But I love Yuta. His best days are ahead of him. We need him right now to play a big role. He's just got to keep getting stronger. But just like his 1 year at prep school, he started off as a good player. By the end of the year, he was first team all conference in a pretty good prep school league. So I think Yuta's adjustment's been great. He's got great teammates, and he's a very focused young man.
A lot of reporters like to focus on Larson, Savage, and Verino. It kind of seems like Joe McDonald gets lost in the shuffle a little bit. Can you just talk about your expectations for him this upcoming season, entering his 3rd season in your offense, and coming off a pretty serious hip injury that he battled through a lot of last year?
Well, Joe, Joe's tough. I always feel like he's special to me. I think he's really appreciated by his teammates and our coaches. I look out my window in my office, and his big old picture is right on the front of the Smith Center. So I think our school and our fans and this athletic department know what he did. He's the heart and soul of our program. I can't say enough about him. He did not practice last year from December on. He played the games, and we had to shut him down for a week or 8 days, whatever it was, when we went to Dayton, just to get him through the season. So he had surgery, successful. Hopefully he can stay healthy. But he looks good now, and he's a gamer. And my goal for all those guys is really if they can all average in double figures, that kind of helps us be a good team, and it keeps the chemistry really good. And that's why I think we were good last year. We had a lot of guys. Nobody was at 18. Everybody was, Joe was at 8 or 9, but that was misleading. And then they had like a bunch of guys, 3 or 4 guys were 10 to 14. And that's what our hope is this year.